Welcome back to Fulfillment Therapy. Today we have a special guest. Edith B. Kiss is here with us. She is a holistic therapist, success habit coach, and #1 best-selling author, humanitarian award winner, and international speaker. Edith was originally a petroleum engineer working in the petroleum industry for 15 years before becoming a full-time life coach. During those years, she trained to become a Reiki master, a Sekam healer, and a Karma yogi. So thank you so much, Edith, for coming on the show. Do you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself in your own words?
Yes. Hi, Kendra. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. Yes, I'm really excited to be here and share everything, like how I transformed, how I healed, basically, and what modalities helped me through my worst years. How I got into this spiritual modalities was that I had panic attacks in my 20s, and I loved traveling. I still love traveling. So I used to travel alone. And in one of my travels was the first time I experienced it. And then I didn't even know what was happening to me. I was just freaking out, and I got some friends and helps to get a medication from a doctor. But that freaked me out. So basically, that's what led me to natural modalities. I wanted to find something which is not medication, but something other. So that's why I ended up first with Reiki healing, and I really enjoyed it. I really love to start understanding what is behind these physical things, what we are. And so Reiki was the first spiritual experience for me, conscious spiritual experience. And then after that, I get into, how can I say that, family constellation therapies. That was also really enjoyable and a lot of help with my healing journey. Also, not just healing me, but the whole soul family. And this was all my hobbies and my sanctuary beside being the engineer. So it was the time when I was already working, I already had kids, and it was just like a weekend thing. Or sometimes when I just felt, oh, I need a refresh or some fixing, then I always went to family constellation therapies or Reiki healing. And then I became a Reiki healer first, like level 1, level 2, and then a master later. But I always felt, oh, I don't want to be a master. It's not for me. I was always like still stick with my job. But then when eventually I quit my job and then I wanted to relocate, then I was like, okay, let's take the master level as well with the same teacher. And I am really happy that I did, because that was like a really stronger level, how I experienced healing. And that helped me actually to lose a lot of weight, because I was overweight and I didn't like myself like that. I was feeling really bad. And I tried like eating more healthy. I tried some exercise, but nothing helped. So I really liked, but I was using the Reiki signs. And then that's when I suddenly just started to change my diet. And then that's how I actually lost weight. So that what was one of the biggest transformation I got from Reiki, basically. But for the panic attacks, it was something which was able to manage it. Whenever I had the panic attacks and I was doing Reiki, it was managing it, but it wasn't the tool which could stop it or which could eliminate it completely. So I was still in the limbo, and I was still feeling like, yeah, my life is okay, but there is still something coming up. There are still patterns and there are still illnesses and all of these things. And then sometimes you feel in peace with those because, oh, the neighbor has it, my sister has it, or my cousin has it, then most likely is normal to getting sick, or is normal to feeling these kind of things because you are human. But later, when I got into the karma yoga healing, I realized that it's not normal. You can actually heal all of these and then just live really nicely, smoothly, without an emotional roller coaster, and just enjoy life. And then when I went through that, and then I realized that it's like, I have to show this to people. I have to help them to realize that, no, you don't need to have all of those struggles. You can actually live more peacefully.
So it sounds like for you, the big motivator to change started with those panic attacks, and then even weight gain. Were those the two things that made you want to change the most?
Yes.
Okay. And you noticed that, and I'm not completely sure, it was through Reiki that helped you get there the most, or it was through something else?
It was mostly the karma yoga healing. So the Reiki was like the initiator, which allowed me first to connect with the source energies, which allowed me to understand that there is behind this physical realm, there is another energy out there which I can use, and then I can reach out to higher dimensions. That was the Reiki brought that to my life, and the family constellation therapies. But the deeper level of healing, which was releasing the emotional traumas from the unconscious mind, that was through karma yoga healing.
Okay. So for listeners that don't really know what that is, can you go into that maybe a little bit more, what karma healing looks like for you, or do you do this with clients now too?
Yes, absolutely. I have clients and I also teach it to facilitators. So now I have people who are actually using it with their clients. So I learned this back in 2018 from a karma guru called Sumant Kaul. So he's from Kashmir originally, and he learned it from his mom and other mentors and gurus. And then he came to Europe, and then I learned it actually in Hungary. Somehow he ended up in my country at the time when I was there. And then that's how I got introduced. And the first thing was shocking for me is the samadhi meditation and the effect of the samadhi meditation, because it's one of the Adi Yogi Shiva techniques. So Adi Yogi means the first yogi. So Shiva was the first yogi, and these techniques were originally from him. And samadhi meditation was very powerful because it opened up my third eye. So it activates the pineal gland and is opening your third eye. And what happened is suddenly I got lots of clarity and lots of breadcrumbs from the universe and messages and synchronicities. So it was very powerful realization started to happen around me and within me. And then after that, I also learned about source memory healing, which also was in this karma yoga healing practice. And it's the tool which we actually communicate with the unconscious mind in transcendental state. And it can actually collect the memories which are relating to our current issue. So when you have a current issue, which could be any illness or mental issue or any situation, and you got triggered, so you have all of these reactions, negative emotions. So if you tune into that, you can actually connect to the unconscious mind and ask the unconscious mind, okay, now bring me the memories which I related to this current trigger so I can release it. And that's how I healed, that going back to those memories, specific memories, and then release the emotional trauma, like release the negative emotions from those memories. And that's what is actually eventually bring you to the situation to forgive. Forgiveness is really important in this process, and to let go. And then that's when you actually stopping the triggers as well. And why is it important to stop the triggers is basically when you get triggered and you're feeling negative emotions, that's how you weakening your energy body, your chakras, and then your aura. And that's you become more vulnerable for many other things.
Yeah. It sounds a little bit like trauma therapy even. Would you consider it a trauma therapy?
Yeah, I would call it a trauma therapy, yes.
Okay. Just maybe different vocabulary words that we're using, but as you're talking about those triggers and the memories related to it, that reminds me of EMDR, hypnotherapy, different types of therapies like that. But amazing. And so do you mind sharing some insights maybe from things clients have said to you that have gone through it with you before?
Yeah, I had clients who came to me with depression. So they had like a deep depression. They hated their job. They were lonely. They felt all kinds of bad things. So they came to me, and then we started to do the sessions together. And eventually, I love seeing that when they appear on my first sessions, they are like all sad, half crying, like looking miserable. And then after a couple of sessions, they are like coming smiling, feeling great, and putting on makeups or having some plans to go out. And so they become a different person. I used to have 8 weeks programs for them, and then I realized that already at the third, fourth week, they are already smiling and happy. I was like, oh, maybe I should just make a 30 days incubator, because I realized that's already enough to bring big results for them. I also have clients with panic attacks, and I can relate to them a lot. And I had a lady who came to me, and then she was in a very severe situation because she was crying nearly all day. Like she had such a bad panic attacks that she was crying all the time. She was very anxious. She couldn't even do the meditation with me. She wasn't in that situation. So I had to first send her Reiki healings for a couple of days to get her to the situation. Okay, she's calm enough to do the meditation and the source memory healing. And then we got out of this in 30 days. And then she was back to school and happy. So this really works, and I'm really happy about it. I also had clients who said that one of the clients said after one session that I haven't felt so much peace since I was 4 years old. And then this was a 60 years old lady. And I was like, wow, shocking. Yeah. So the people going through a lot. And then my clients also like coming from with PTSD. One of the ladies, she got abused in childhood, and then she couldn't even imagine how she can forgive one of her parents who did the abuse. Like, how is it possible? She was crying. And then I was like, yeah, we can go through this and we can do this. And then she was so happy at the end that she was eventually in peace with the whole situation. And then she could be in a good term with the parents.
So, do very many people know about karma yoga? Do very many people know about that in Europe? And is it very big over here in America?
No, I think it's still very rare. I still need to explain it to people. They still don't know about it. So it's very rare. My guru Suman Kaur passed away in 2022. That was the time when clients came to me and said, we want to learn this. And then I couldn't direct them to anywhere. So I actually had to create the whole program. And then I had to create it in a different way than he was teaching it, because he taught it in a weekend, 3 days intensive, and then in a face-to-face situation. But I was like, I have clients from all over the world, from US to Hong Kong. And so how can I put them into the same place? So that's why I created an online Zoom teaching with them, and then a more relaxed state, like once a week meeting with them and giving them homework during the week. So that's how I started to teach my facilitators, basically. And I have 3 levels, like that's how I teach the levels till master. And so I just had to take on because there was nobody else.
Say listeners are listening to this and they think, oh, that sounds like something I would love to do. And it sounds like you can help them even though you're in London. How would they go about finding you and finding out a little bit more about karma yoga?
So I have a website, is editbkiss.com, and then all my socials links are on my website. So they can actually find from my website my YouTube. I have a YouTube channel which called Magical Karma Priestess, and I have also a meditation playlist there. So they can already start practicing some of the samadhi meditation or other powerful meditations from the playlist. And they can reach out to me through my Instagram or also through the website. There is a contact page.
Okay. And I'll also put that in the show notes for anybody that wants to hear about it. What are different things that listeners could do right now if they don't know a lot about karma yoga or Reiki or any of these things that would help them, maybe if they are having panic attacks or depression?
Yeah, so I realized so many times that already some little steps is enough to mitigate the reactions. So, for example, I realized that when someone is in a vegan diet or vegetarian diet and they don't have enough iron in their body, or they have iron deficiency or vitamin B deficiency, that's already triggering these reactions much faster. So that's the first thing what I always ask my clients. Okay, what's your diet? What do you eat? And then what supplements you should take if you don't eat certain food. That's the first thing. And then, of course, going into what is their sleep pattern or what are their habits. Like the caffeine, I don't recommend caffeine if you're going through any depression or any mental illness, basically, or alcohol. So that would be the first thing to get rid of, these addictions. And also just to take care of the physical body and then the health of the physical body, because that can actually have effect on your mental health as well. So that's the first step. And the second step is look around your environment where you can set boundaries, because the boundaries are again which is triggering the situation. For example, if you don't like your job, if you don't like your coworkers, if you feel like it's a toxic environment, then you need to pull yourself out of there. Even just for a vacation for a couple of weeks. So when you are depressed or having these issues, then you definitely need to take yourself out of the game, basically, and rest and relax and spend time alone or do things what you enjoy. Definitely, that would be the first step until you don't go into the deep healing. So when you are going into the deep healing and you are able to release it on a profound way, those memories which I was talking about, that basically these triggers can be mitigated, and then you're not going to get that much frustrated. So you are more resilient. So you are more like a Buddha. So it's basically you can go into any places. But until that, you need to take yourself away from toxic environment. And if you surround yourself with people like you feel like draining or energetically they are not good for you, again, setting boundaries. Don't meet with people who is not bringing you joy and happiness. So it's okay to be a hermit until you don't find the solution and get the proper healing, basically.
And is this what your book is about, or can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Yep. My book is called On the Healer's Journey, and it's a coaching book for seekers. So it's basically, I wrote this book back in 2020 when it was the lockdown, and everybody was questioning their existence, questioning their awakening, also questioning how to navigate when they are in a closed place with other people who they don't want to be with. So yes, this book is also explaining about boundaries and then how to actually take on your own strengths, or how to acknowledge that you are actually meant for bigger things and feel your strengths within you. And then also to know that you are also a healer. Even just healing yourself, you become a healer, because if you take on the responsibility of healing yourself, it's affecting your whole soul family. It's like a ripple effect. And then that makes you a healer, basically. Because people were complaining that they feel like the black sheep in the family, they feel like outstanding, like they are looking at things differently, they don't understand each other, they feel misunderstood, so on and so forth. And because they are the chosen one who take on this, going into the rabbit hole and take on this healing journey, that's going to affect the whole family. So sometimes when people feel like, oh, how will it be possible to reconcile with these families? If you start your healing, they're going to feel it and they will actually transform too.
Absolutely. I love talking about the ripple effect, and I talk about it quite a bit on my podcast. So I'm glad that you brought that up as well. When it comes to the yoga part of it, I know you're speaking mostly about Reiki, you're talking about karma yoga, but what if somebody in America, especially, is just not very familiar with any of those things, but they like what you're saying and they want to get started on that path? Is there some place that they should start, some classes or some area you would recommend for healing first?
I would definitely recommend meditation. That's the beginning of, I would say, everything, to connect to your higher self, to ground yourself to earth, also connecting to source or higher dimensions. Meditation is the best way to do it. There are so many kinds of meditations out there. I would say like thousands of meditations. And then when you say meditation, some people already think about, oh, okay, when I sit still and I'm just observing my breathing. That's one kind of meditation. But what is happening when they do that, they trying to calm the monkey mind, their conscious mind. And then some meditation is different from this, is that it's more effortless. You don't need to calm your monkey mind because you transcend into the subconscious where it's always quiet. So it's like when you go through this guided meditation, when you activate the pineal gland, then you transcend. It's just quiet and effortlessly. Not you need to force anything. So that's why I've said that they can visit my YouTube, and for free they can watch my playlist or listen to my meditations there, because samadhi meditation is something else. I can say that.
Yeah. So many of these are free on YouTube, and you do many of these meditations that people can practice.
Yeah, they can go to the YouTube channel and the playlist. There is several meditations that they can already start practicing. And I'm telling you, I had people who didn't even had any class with me or healing, but they started to do the meditations from the playlist, and they were commenting me back that only the meditation changed their life a lot. Because you start to produce the necessary hormones on a boost when you activate the pineal gland. So you become more focused, you become more kind and loving. Even you will have a more vital body because of the growth hormone production, and then your mood is going to be better. So when people comes to me and they say, oh, it's so difficult to be in gratitude or raise my vibration when I'm in the rabbit hole or I feel down. And because some people just say, oh, just count your blessings, just feel gratitude, whatever, then you're going to feel better. But when you are there, how you bring yourself out, right? And then this meditation is actually, when you start doing it, it's going to make it easier with the serotonin production as well, to bring you out of there. And then you start having more gratitude. and feeling good.
Right. So not just faking it, but the starting point so you can get out of that if you're already feeling really weighed down. And then you said the result over time with that is you don't have to force it. There's just that quiet that you can achieve, hopefully by watching your meditations.
Yeah, to listening, yes.
Wonderful. I love to hear that. So then just in closing, I'm curious how you have one of those pivotal points for you where you were able to create more fulfillment in your life journey. You've done a lot of amazing things, but what has been that one thing that you feel like has led you down this path of greater peace and fulfillment?
Fulfillment is more about now to help others, like seeing them transform, seeing them happy, because it's not really about me anymore. It's more about showing them the way or helping them, supporting them. But again, what brought me the biggest fulfillment is also when I was able to see that as I'm raising my vibrations through this process, I'm always having mentors. I always having in different area of my life. I having manifestation mentors or spiritual mentors or business mentors. I always have someone who I'm learning from. And then I also give this knowledge to my group coaching where I'm doing a group. I have a school community, by the way. It's called Release with Ease. And then in this core community, we have a weekly session. And then I always bring them new things which I learned or whatever I experienced or I channeled. They get all of those knowledge. So I love that I'm also always challenged with these mentors to go to the next level, to go to the next level. And that brings me fulfillment because even when I thought, oh, I'm on a very good level, and then I wasn't searching, suddenly just hit me the next level. And I was like, wow, I can do this now. Or it's really a great feeling. Yeah.
It sounds like you found this place or these mentors that would help you with that incremental growth, that slow leaning in and becoming your best self, taking that to the next level and really helping other people. And that has brought you a lot of fulfillment.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Edith, for coming on the show. And I'm excited to check out your YouTube videos and to show those to podcast guests. So, again, all of her links will be in the show notes. You can check that out and find her there. So, thank you again, Edith, for coming on and sharing your wisdom.
Thank you, Kendra. Take care, everybody.
Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, chances are someone else would too. Would you take 30 seconds to share this with a friend who's looking for greater family fulfillment? And while you're sharing, tell me what you think about the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. It refuels me when I hear this podcast is helping you, no matter what your house or your hair looks like. I'll meet you back here every Monday and Thursday morning for more episodes. Until then.